Hello, on, guys. Welcome to episode 8 of the Brock Mars podcast. Today, I am with Anthony Vickman. He is the CEO of Dino Turf. For those that don't know, what is Dino Turf?
Dino turf cleaning is a artificial grass maintenance company. So we maintain artificial grass and take care of people's yards as far as the turf goes, and eliminating bacteria and odors, and helping the overall longevity of the turf so it can last and maintain for its full life. So
How
that's what we
does
do.
I feel like this business model? I've never actually heard of it. I feel like it's obviously definitely should be a thing because it makes perfect sense for people who want to maintain their turf. But how does someone stumble upon this business in particular?
Yeah, man, it's been a journey for sure. 4 years ago when I started, I would say that it was almost non-existent. I have a lot of background in carpet cleaning, so in my carpet cleaning days, I was cleaning carpet indoors, and now I'm basically cleaning carpet outdoors. So it's easy for me to like relate to this. I can kind of share my journey too and how I got here, but initially it was carpet cleaning got me into it, and I was done with my carpet cleaning career and kind of ventured into another business with my wife. And as soon as that started to end, I needed something different, and I was focused on the next thing. And the next thing for me wasn't to go back in a normal job. And I knew I wanted to own my own thing. I had customers when I was carpet cleaning be like, yo, could you clean my turf? And, 12 years ago when I was carpet cleaning, around that 8 years ago, maybe somewhere in there. And I was like, no one cleans turf. Like, you just hose it down, dude. Like, there's nothing to be done with it. But to my naivety, that's not the case. So fast forward to we were 4 years ago, and I did a lot of research. And when we were me and my wife were selling our other business, we needed something, and I knew carpet cleaning, and I didn't want to go back into it. So I'm kind of like figuring all those things out in my head of like, what am I going to do? And I had created the LLC for turf cleaning, but I didn't know it was going to be a thing. So I thought maybe it could go somewhere. There wasn't a lot of people doing it in Arizona, and because that's where I'm at is Arizona, and I didn't even know if there was a market. So I was like, I think this could be something. I know how to start a business. I know kind of how to run it, but I guess that's where I kind of like initiated it, was like just my initial research and getting into it. I think there's a market. I called around to other turf cleaners. There was like 3 in Arizona. And I'm like, well, I'm either going to be a part of a very small market, or it's going to catch up and it could be a big thing. So I think that was my initial, why I was drawn to it, because it was so young and so niche, that I knew I could solve people's problems, and I knew I was really good at carpet cleaning. And if I could take my skills from one thing and apply it to the next thing and create something new, that was really appealing to me. So that's kind of where where my journey started in a nutshell. Without getting into the weeds, I certainly can if you want me to. But
Hey,
yeah, there's a lot in between.
I really do think your business model is unique because, like I said, I've never heard of anyone doing it. And you said it yourself that you didn't even know there was a market. Why did you take that risk? If you didn't know there was a market and you weren't sure if it wasn't going to work, why did you decide, let me just take the risk and see if this does work?
Dude, that's it's tough. Looking back, I probably was a little crazy, but in just in just knowing my background and wanting to create something new and being creative, I took the risk just because I knew it had, like, my internal feeling was it's gonna work. And my wife was a big contributor to, like, I think this is bigger than what you even think it is. Um, the risk was I didn't know what else to do. I knew carpet cleaning. but I didn't want to do that. And I knew how to build a business, sort of. And if it wasn't going to work, I'd find something else.
Oh.
So it's like if I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna go all in, and if it fails, it fails. I learned a lesson, and I'm gonna move on. But it was big enough to risk it failing, and then I can move on. But if I never tried, and if at least I didn't like give it an effort, I would have never known what I would miss out on. So come to find out, it's a pretty big industry, and it's getting some pretty big legs right now. It's growing super rapidly. So I think I made a good choice.
It sounds to me like you didn't really give it a choice. Like you're gonna make something work. What you own the carpet business, correct? And then you sold it.
No, my dad owned it, and I worked with him when I was in high school, like senior year of high school. So, kind of background on that is I worked with him. He owned it. It was just him and one truck, and I worked with him for 8 years, and through college and a little bit of high school and stuff. And I was kind of lost. I was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, probably in the same position you might be in right now. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. I was just working for dad, and it was great, like being around him and like doing something purposeful and working with my hands, like that immediate gratification and doing something like that was nice. But I knew I wasn't destined for it, so ventured kind of off to do more of like a computer technology route as I was in college. So I kind of like altered my college to do more administrative work and tech kind of things, and realized I like really hated that. I was like, dude, I'm a guy that needs to be out and shaking hands and being belly with people and having that immediate gratification, not sitting at a desk. So I knew that about myself, and then I did find that out in just my like, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna do it, and it didn't work. So went back to my dad and stuff and did carpet cleaning. But it was an adventure to get there, and it was through all those experiences. I was like, something's gonna work, and I grew a lot through the business that me and my wife built. It was completely different. It was in the wedding industry. We did like wedding rentals and stuff. So we had like dance floors and tables, chairs, and a lot of backdrops. So we would make kind of the Pinteresty wedding come true in people's backyards and at events and stuff. And we built that up pretty good, and then sold it. But no, I didn't have any. My dad still owns the carpet cleaning business. Selling my wedding business was the first kind of go at owning a business and figuring out all of those things. So if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I never would have like taken a chance and been so courageous, I guess, to start something new. It wasn't. It was. We had the business for 6 years, and we knew we didn't want to be in that industry because it was so freaking hard and so demanding. Brides are tough. Deadlines are tough.
I believe it.
Just the overall upkeep of all of your things. We had 40 some farm tables, 500 some chairs, whatever it was. Dance floors, always maintenance. We had 13, 14 employees working for us, several trucks and trailers. We were doing like 20 to 40 events a weekend during busy season, and we're slammed. So blessing to like be able to do that and grow something. But if I hadn't had that background, I probably never would have taken a leap to do something from the ground up again. And chose something that I knew I could control a little bit better. And home service industry, typically, if you get into it and you know what you're doing, you're going to hit it. You're going to do well. So it was a risk, but yet I was really calculated. And I did a lot of research in the beginning to really understand what I was getting into. But dude, like, I didn't know what tools to use. There's no program to go through. There was really no one to call. I called a couple competitors, and that's when I was told, like, you screw off, dude. You don't know what you're doing. Don't enter this business because you don't know what you're doing. So that was a little discouraging at first, but sometimes things like that give you a chip on your shoulder, and you're just like, well, thank you, but
Well,
I think I do know what I'm doing, and I'm just going to prove you wrong anyways. So,
what do you mean that you called competitors? Did you call them to kind of figure out what they were pricing their stuff at, or did you call to kind of get some insight as to if this business was going to work? Kind of what you mean whenever you said you call competitors.
yeah, when I was first starting, like I said, I would go on YouTube. I try to look up some stuff. There was no one to really connect with. Instagram didn't have like you look up turf cleaners or something. No one popped up hardly. Like maybe three people did somewhere in California. And I was really trying to network with other people in the industry other than just like turf installers because they were not doing what I was doing. So I called around. First of all, check pricing because I needed to know where my pricing was going to lie. I was trying to form the business, but when I made that phone call and the guy told me to screw off, I was just trying to make a connection. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, you look like you're the top dog in the industry. And if I could figure out what, like, how he's done it or at least make friends with him, like, yo, if you have overflow, like, I'm new, I'm not trying to take over, but, throw me some bones. Yeah, I'm a cool dude. Like, if you're a cool dude, we'll just have a good little network. And I fully believe in networking, man. Like, relationships is so big.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know who you're going to connect with, that one next phone call could be like the unlock of, yo, dude, I have like 15 referrals for you. Just call this realtor.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take care of all the work that they have. So that was kind of my mindset in calling around too, not just to gain insight on their pricing, because I already had a little bit of an idea what I was going to charge. It was helpful, but I wasn't trying to be sneaky about it. It was just more like, I'm trying to connect with you. And when he totally shut me down, I was like, nah, get out of the game. You're gonna ruin turf. You're gonna ruin it. Don't, you're gonna make a bad name for the business or whatever. So that was really what I was after, was just connecting with people.
And why did something like that not like sway you away from doing it? Why did something like that not maybe like turn you off? Maybe be like, maybe I should stop. Did you just kind of block out the noise and you like, this is my time to go in, or why did you not step away? Because it seems like that's a lot of discouragement to even do it in the first place.
Yeah, it was. I took it more as like he was scared of people entering the business and knocking him off his pedestal. And it wasn't in my nature just to give up because I already had invested in time. I already invested my energy and money into equipment. And it was either this or it was nothing. And if I was just going to give up based on one little negative comment from somebody, I don't think I have a business. I don't think I have any business being there in the first place if one person is going to tell me you're dumb and just give up.
Mm.
So I took that as a chip on my shoulder, dude. I was like, that was rude.
Uh,
Now I took it more as like I have a target to aim for instead of a scar.
mm-hmm.
Instead of like someone saying you're not good because they don't know me. They don't know who I am. They don't know my background. They don't know what I can do. So taking something personally like that would have done me no good. And I really something clicked. I was like, I'm for you. Like I think I see the bigger picture now. That was more it, man. Like there's haters out there. There's just they're gonna be haters. And even when I was brand new, I'm like, there's a little bit of doubt sometimes. I think that's natural for you to have a little bit of doubt. I'm like, maybe I don't know what I'm doing because I didn't. I literally didn't. Like I would just bought a couple things and tried it and felt like I was an imposter because I was experimenting.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have been right. He could have been like, I might ruin it. And I could have. But because I was so calculating, because I did so much research in the industry and I had experience coming into it with carpet cleaning, I was pretty confident that I would just make it work. I was confident myself that no matter what's going to happen, like I'm just going to keep trying it until something works.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it was more of a click of like, you don't know me. Now I have a target to aim for.
Mm-hmm.
So
How
that's kind of where I was
does
at.
how does someone even market a business like this since there's not a lot of people doing it? So if there's not a lot of people doing it and you're unsure if there's even a market for it, how do you find your clients starting off?
Um, yeah, I mean, I love content. I got a little bit of experience with the wedding business and the carpet cleaning. Um, you know your clientele just based on who needs you, the problem that you're solving, and that's who you market to. So in turf, it was confusing at first because not everyone has turf. So I didn't know if I was like, well, am I gonna like really target people on Instagram or Facebook, or am I gonna door knock? I didn't have a background in door knocking, so that wasn't an option for me, and I wasn't comfortable doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was good at making videos. Like I knew I could put my camera on the yard and point and shoot and make a little time lapse video. And I knew that was working well on Instagram at the time. I'm like, I'm just going to do that. And that kind of helped me figure out who my customers were because they just gravitated towards it. And when you make ads and you start just doing things, you figure it out pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you talk to your customers, I'm talking to my customers and figuring out what their problems are. Like I had an idea of like, well, I'm de-stinking their yard, right? I'm making it not smell anymore. I'm making it look good. But then you start to talk to your customers like, well, I struggle with this. And then you're helping in an area you didn't even know you're helping with. So it's just communicating. It's having a bigger relationship with your customers. And I mean, at first, dude, it's like you put some ads out there, you're gonna get business. It's not hard. You're just go where your customers are. And I knew the easiest for me was to just put content out there, build a little bit of a Instagram page, Facebook page, and figure it out from there.
Mm-hmm.
So no one real answer of like I didn't know how to market to it. I just put stuff out there and just figured it out little by little, one step at a time.
So your clients came to you. You didn't necessarily go to the clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. That's what I was used to in carpet cleaning. So my thought was if I put good content out there and I can show people what I do, um, they're just gonna gravitate towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Make cool stuff, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, I need that. I didn't know I needed that, but I need it now." I've been struggling with this, and he's providing the solution. Let me see what he can do to my yard. And it's not hard. It's
Yeah.
same with like painting, or some other niche things like pressure washing or something. You have a dirty driveway. I didn't know I could pressure wash it, but this dude that I saw a video of like can do it,
Mm.
and so why not call him, see what he can do.
Did you do the same thing with the wedding business? Did you do this video outreach, Facebook ads, everything to kind of get people to you for the wedding business, or was it just through word of mouth?
That was a little different. The wedding business, we networked heavy on Instagram and built up a page on Instagram. We networked with a lot of the vendors. So when you're in the wedding business, it's like big, but it's small. You all use each other. So like every wedding typically needs a photographer, needs a wedding planner, needs a venue, needs a florist, needs all these people. They need the rentals. And if you're in a good networking group of people that just get a lot of business and you refer each other around, that is mainly how we did it. They have some other things in the wedding business that you do a lot of things for free.
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot of things for free for the content, and then you put it on your social media. So that was more of networking content and putting it on social media, and they just started to gravitate towards us. This one, I tried to push a little bit harder to getting my stuff out there so people could see it. So almost from day one, I started ads. I wasn't good at it, but I just tried. And eventually I started to get the hang of it and honed in my content a little bit. And we have some sales guys on the team right now. I have 3 sales guys, and so we're outbound with them, but we're 95% inbound for our leads for Dino
Now, take
still.
me through. You brought up earlier that your risk was very calculated. Take me through that. How do you determine if a risk should be? How do you calculate that? How do you figure out if this is truly a niche that I got to dive into?
That's a good question, man. I think it's a feeling. I think it's a feeling. You start to see who your competitors are. You know what they're charging. You know your area that you live in. I'm like, Arizona's growing. I looked at the turf industry alone. I was like, it's freaking booming. Turf installs keep going up and up and up. So naturally, that's going to need maintenance. Even if people don't know they need it, like they're gonna need it because I'm gonna put the message out there that if they haven't understood the importance of turf maintenance, because for so long turf installers and manufacturers and distributors and stuff are like, it's no maintenance, you don't need to do anything to it. The people are understanding now that it smells. Like, of course I need to do something to it, not just replace it and throw thousands of dollars away. So there was a big gap, and I talked to a lot of people. I talked to a lot of people that were like, I think you have something. I think you actually might have like a cool business." Even when I didn't believe it myself, man, like in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work, you know, but I have a family, and with the sale of the wedding business, we had our two little boys through that. And when we sold it, they were 2 and 4, or yeah, somewhere in there. And so they were little, and if it wasn't going to work, I was going to figure it out. But that was it. Like, I was all in, and the calculated risk was, I can do it. If I'm going to do it on my own for a while, I know the certain dollar amount that I need to hit a month to actually provide for my family. And my wife isn't working; she stays at home and homeschools the kids. And I knew like everything fell on my shoulders. So if I'm going to make this work, I know home service is huge, and I know I can provide a service that people need. The market is good. It's vast. There's tons of turf. The turf sales are up, right? There's not many people doing it. So I'm sure I can get enough to provide for myself and my family. I don't know how much we're going to grow, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. My goal and my thought was like, I'm going to get out of the truck as fast as possible. I don't know what that means. I don't know how long it's going to take, but these are my goals. This is what I want to do. So in putting everything together and kind of putting like the pieces together, without an actual timeline, it was, things were looking easier. I was like, well, if I'm on the truck for a year and I make 120,000 a year, say, we'll be okay. And then year 2, if it keeps growing, then I'll be able to hire, maybe get out of the truck, and yada yada. So, you know, it was just looking at the small amount of competition that I had. I knew if it were to keep growing, more people were going to enter. So if I didn't do it now, I'd miss the boat. And that's kind of where I was at. I was like, if I don't do it now, I don't get a head start on this, because it could be big. And if I look back and I cave into fear, right now, there's hundreds of turf cleaners versus like 4 of us 4 years ago. Huge growth. I would have been sitting back and like, dang it, I missed it, man. I gave in. I let fear get a hold of me and didn't take the risk. So it was more of a, if I don't take this risk, I'm going to regret it more than if I fail.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but I
That's
feel
part of
like
that.
you have a pretty high risk tolerance as to when it comes to things. How much financial cushion did you have off after selling the wedding business until, oh shit, I quite literally cannot afford to live? Did you have a few months worth? Did you have a year's worth? Like, how much cushion did you truly have at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's what gave me a lot of ability to have risk. We didn't sell for a lot. You know, we sold the wedding business for in the mid six figures. So I had some cushion. We had about a year's worth of savings, 8 months, somewhere in there, 8 to 9 months. It almost was a year, depending on how we spent our money. But I was also investing a lot in the business. So that after I was investing and we paid our freaking taxes on for the sale of the business, we had about 8 months. and that was my cushion. So at the end of 8 months, if it didn't work, I'm
You're like, you're
we were going to be looking for something. Yeah, so it was awesome. It was great to have that little bit of cushion to be able to do that. If I didn't have it, I probably would have gotten a job and then tried this on the side and still done it. But from day one, I was able to go all in and just make it work as quickly as possible.
I think that's such a good and unique blessing to be able to have
Hmm.
that financial cushion instead of just going all in the first place. But how important has social media really played a role to you acquiring customers, to really marketing your brand, to really standing out from the competition?
Everything, everything. Yeah, social media is huge, dude, and I don't think I realized how big it is until now. At first I'm like, I need it. I just need to be on it. That's how I kind of put my stuff out there. That's how I run ads. Is I have to have a page. Um, but you see it more as a necessity and as a tool rather than just like a social place for you to just have fun and put your videos out there. It's my actual like portfolio. Like this is real life. This is how we communicate with our customers. Um, and it's fun. It's cool to be able to be creative and feel like you're making an impact on our culture a little bit, especially going from where I was 4 years ago to now. So many guys have entered the business, and I've connected with so many other turf cleaners now and helped them with their businesses, getting them started. Because just in my social media and like having cool content and kind of going through the journey a little bit, I've had countless people that have now started turf cleaning businesses reach out to me because of social media. And I now have several friends because of it, just because of social media,
Yeah.
that are turf cleaners. We're competitors in the same state, sometimes in the same city, but yet we're cool, and it's so awesome because without it, I don't think I would have found them. Um, but not only that, like just like when, because I'm part of Nikki T's inner circle, and it's so cool to be able to have a group of people that are in different businesses, but be able to make cool stuff and put it out there for people to see, and that encourages other people. And you don't know who you're gonna touch. You don't know who's gonna have enjoyment out of your content that you're making. It may not be for everybody, but you're gonna find your tribe. You're gonna find your people just because of that. And if it influences someone on some level, you've done a pretty cool thing. So it's a lot of networking. I see it more as not just to put our stuff out there, but to hold a place within our little world, and we're amongst a lot of cool people that are doing turf cleaning and landscape design and all of that. So it makes it a lot easier to connect with other companies and other business owners and um, things like that. So yeah, man, I think it's a lot to do with networking. It's a lot to do with just connecting with people and understanding their story. Because if you might have something that they don't have, and they have something you don't have, and that one little nugget that you get from somebody else could like be something that you were missing. So it's super powerful. Without it, man, I don't know if I'd have a business.
Why does something like that not bother you? You said that sometimes you help your competition, even sometimes people in your same city, maybe same state sometimes, or same industry. Why does something like that not bother you?
Um, this is a big market. There's a lot of business to be had, and ultimately, I'm a people person, and I'm rooting for the other guy too. I'm in my own lane. I'm doing my own thing, and because there's so much business out there, it'd be selfish of me to be like, no, go away. I don't want to be that guy that scarred that put the chip on my shoulder. right? That was like, I refused to be that guy because it did something to me internally that was like, nope, I'm not going to be the one with the target on my back. And I'm kind of a people pleaser too, to an extent. I want people to like me. I want people to like gravitate towards me and stuff. And I like being around others that have the same mindset. And if you're in the right mindset, they're like, hey, I've watched your stuff. I've done it on my own. I've tried it. What do you think about this? Can you give me some advice? Absolutely, man. Like, you're grinding too. We're all just grinding. And I have mad respect for anyone that does that. And don't get me wrong, I've had the guys that were like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Have you tried it? No, but give me all the answers. Not that easy, man. Get out there and do it,
Yeah.
you know? So there's two different types, and I have the respect for the guys that are in the grind because that's where I'm at too. You know, maybe I'm a couple steps ahead, but I've been there, and I have ultimate respect for that. So no, I don't really care. And I've met some cool friends along the way and talked to them daily, almost every day, and we share stories at this point where it's like, hey, I had this customer, or, hey, I have this machine break on me. Like, what do you do, or whatever. So, at the end of the day, it's good to have good peers.
How does you said earlier that you are a people's person and networking's been super important for everything. How does someone build their network? How does someone meet the people that could potentially maybe change their life down the road? How does someone go out there and just start networking?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you're doing. I mean, it's just reaching out. It's being bold enough to just say, hey, I'm in your space. What's your advice for me? Getting in front of people, going to networking events. If you have someone that you aspire to that's on Instagram, like, go connect with them. If they have a networking group, or if they have like some sort of inner circle like Nikki T does, like, get involved, Um, you don't know what you're going to miss out on if you never ask. So I think that's it, man. It's not being afraid to be bold, and don't let fear captivate you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that mindset, but fear is what ultimately holds them back. I
Mhm.
think the getting over that hump, because a lot of people are afraid of what people might think of them, what people might say. Did you get any negative feedback when you started this business, or was it mostly positive? I know you said your wife was pretty positive about it, and I know you said that you did call the guy and he did say get out of the industry. But what about your family? What did your dad say?
I think I didn't get, other than those couple instances, I didn't get a lot of like, you're never going to make this work, because they saw me make it work in the wedding business. So I think they had faith in, well, you did it once, maybe you can do it again. Um, when I first had the idea, I know I told some friends, I'm like, I think I'm going to start a turf cleaning business now. They're like, what?
Yeah.
And so there was like I don't know, I think it'll work. Um, it was really, I didn't have a lot of people naysaying other than those, but it was like almost like a hidden fear of mine that if I don't make it work, I'm gonna be a failure. Like, I was successful at the wedding business, and if I go into this one and I don't make it work, like, how am I gonna look? So I think it was more me internally that I had the most doubt going into it, because I didn't know. And I was more encouraged by other people, like, okay, cool, man. I'm excited to see you do it. I think that sounds like a good business. So I was encouraged by that, but like, me and my wife are pretty good Christians too, and just being in prayer and asking the Lord, like, is this the direction that I should go? Gave me the ultimate yes, like, this is the direction you should go. So that was more of the reassurance, because I was doubting myself rather than other people tearing me down. It was more of an internal thing for me. Um, but with the reassurance that this is the path that I'm supposed to take. So that's what helped me get kind of over that mindset in the beginnings.
And your dad supported the idea. He supported you doing the turf. Because it sounds like, since you know did carpet and since he knows carpet, I feel like a lot of time I'd be like, kind of sounds odd. So he was pretty supportive of it.
Yeah, he's always been pretty supportive of everything that I do. I had introduced it when I was still working for him. I was like, I think we should add turf cleaning as a service. And he's like, no, I'm not going to be working outside.
Yeah.
So then when I was like, well, I think I'm going to do it on my own, then, he was like, okay, I'm not going to be out there
Mhm.
cleaning turf. So like, I know you can do it. He's like, I know you can do it. I have faith that you can. And he's been rooting me on the entire way. So nothing more than support for my whole family, and we're all pretty close. So
Okay.
who knows what they were thinking when I told them that? And I'm gonna be like, this is going to be my only thing that I do. I don't know. There was no hesitation from them, but you have to think in your own head that like maybe they do doubt me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have that little bit of like, I'm gonna make sure I pull through, so I don't look like a failure and I don't like not know what I'm doing. um, and that's fine. That's it's one thing to show it on the outside and have it internally. Because if you're showing that on the outside, like, I don't really know, what should I do? People are going to start to doubt you, and people are going to be like, well, maybe you shouldn't then. I kind of always approached it with some confidence of like, this is what I'm doing. And when they say, okay, cool, how are you going to do it? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to do it. So when you go in with that, and then when you get in the grind, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know one thing for sure, that I'm not going to give up.
Hmm.
And because I don't give up, I'm just going to keep on changing things until they work. And then once that you get that unlock and you're like, yo, this worked. I'm getting good feedback from my customers. I ask my customers like, hey, how does this smell? How does it look? Can you write me a review? Can you refer a neighbor? All those things. And they just started coming in. And then I started to believe more in what I was doing on my own. Like, I think I do have something here, you
Hmm.
know. But on the outside, it was always like, yep, I'm grinding. I'm doing my best. I'm putting stuff out there on social media. It was like I'm making content and looking good. So there's two different battles that happen, but I think ultimately is more of I'm gonna I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it with confidence, and I'm just not gonna give up.
How does someone adopt this mindset? It sounds to me like this whole podcast, you've had a pretty um, level-headed mindset as to no matter what, I'm gonna make this work. How do you not get discouraged, or how do you not automatic go into that self-doubt repetition in your mind? How does someone adopt that mindset of just, I'm making this work, I'm not giving it a choice?
My family,
Hmm.
my family's everything, and if I didn't make it work, I had the feeling of like we're gonna lose our house. We're gonna be homeless, or we're gonna have to move in with my parents. Of course, I had self doubt. I'd be lying to you if I didn't, because when I was on my own and in the truck on my own every day, you get that in the grind feeling of like, I don't know what I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. This is hard. Why don't I just go get an office job again?
Hmm.
But you quickly get over that, and I'm reminded of my family and who's relying on me. And ultimately, my wife believed in me more than I believed in myself at times. So getting that energy from her and that confidence in her just boosted me up even more. So if it's not a wife, if it's not your parents, it could be somebody else. It could be getting motivation from inspirational people on Instagram. But for me, it was my wife, and believing in me sometimes more than I believed in myself. And my reason I was doing it is provide for my family, not just for financial, but for longevity. And like, dad built a business, dad was able to push through and kind of show that you can build something from nothing and have something.
Hmm.
I don't need, an 8-figure business. Would be nice, and maybe I will one day, but I just want to be there for my family in the end, and be able to have a little bit of freedom to where I'm home, I'm around, I'm present, and I've showed hard work. through what I've done to my kids so they can kind of understand that. And they're not just like, well, dad's gone for 6 hours a day or 8 hours a day. And then he comes home and he's like tired and whatnot, so it was more than just, it was more than that. Yeah. So it's not easy. It's very hard. And even though sometimes it may seem like it's like he's got it all together, like there's a lot of stuff going on that you don't know what decisions to make. It's hard, dude. But making a decision is better than just sitting in it and failing, and like not doing anything. So it's been one of those things that like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it hard, and I'm gonna go all in. If I fail because I went all in and went hard, then so be it. I can live with that. But if I just sat back and like let things happen and didn't make decisions and whatnot, then I can't live with not giving it my all, because then I left something on the table and didn't live up to some sort of potential.
I love that mindset. It sounds like a lot of people go into entrepreneurship thinking, oh, I want to go be a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, and that's why they do it. But I really like the mindset that you said, all you want to do at the end of this is just provide for your family. You just want to make enough to get by.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the richest. You just want to be able to have that financial or that freedom of then the luxury of owning that business. How many employees do you have now?
I have 8.
8. And
Yeah.
how long did it kind of take you to build a good team? How do you find the right employees that to hire?
Yeah, good question. So I'm going to go back to a little bit of the mindset and not having the overall financial goal, right? Of I don't need to be a millionaire, I don't need to be a billionaire, whatever, but doing little steps at a time and doing it for the right reasons will bring in the income. It'll just happen. So that's where I was for that, just to add a little bit to it. I don't have the mindset of being super, super wealthy. It'd be nice and I would love it, but the goal is just to provide for the family, and it will gravitate in that direction. And that's part of building the business and having the employees, because I want to bring these people along on the journey. It's not for me, now I have employees that are part of the mission, and part of the mission is to build something that we can at one point sell and make a lot of money. But it's for our families at the end of the day. That's why we're doing it. And the employees hopefully will be able to tag along in this and have something that not only they've worked in, but they've been part of, that have pride in, and one day will have a payout. It took me 2.5 years of being solo and figuring things out to where I finally had hired my first tech. So 2.5 years of grinding, of just me, to when I hired my first guy, and I hired my brother-in-law, and he's still with me now. Everyone I've hired is still with me now, so it's been good. But we're still really young, and so I have 3 technicians. So I have 3 technicians that are turf. They're on the trucks every day. 3 vans, 3 technicians that are en route Monday through Friday. I have my sister that's office manager, so she's answering the phones and communicating with customers and giving estimates out and things. And then I have 3 sales guys that are doing outbound stuff, so they're trying to get more commercial jobs and doing networking events and things like that. So, and then there's me, so 7 technically.
Mm-hmm. Since hiring these 8 employees that you have, are you able to kind of take a step back and kind of relax a little bit more, or are you still kind of go nonstop?
I'm pretty go. It's not in my nature to sit back. I feel if I'm sitting back, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And we lose momentum. So it helped the business just because I was able to get out of the grind every day and take a step back and look at more of a bigger picture of what's going on and do more content. I can do more customer relation stuff with building the brand, and actually having time for it. When you're in it and you're doing the work and you're answering the phones and you're doing the marketing and you're doing the bookkeeping and you're doing all of the things, it's way too much. So it was hard to get to that point, but so necessary. And I'm not profitable as I should be because I'm paying probably too many people.
Yeah.
But it's a necessary thing. It's one of those like calculated risks too, where it's like I know this person's going to add this value, and it will eventually jump us up a level. So um, it took a while, but ultimately that was the goal: is to get out of the truck as fast as possible, and it took me about 2.5 years to do that. So
Mm. I have just some fun questions kind of written down here. What
yeah.
has been kind of like the wildest turf cleaning story that you've done? Have you ever cleaned someone's turf and it's just been absolutely just disgusting, just gross? Like, what is the wildest story that you kind of have done?
Wildest one. Um, Man, there's been so many yards that have thrown us for a loop. Almost we get surprised daily. I gotta think about that. Um, I'm obviously the dog owner ones where there's like a lot of, you know,
Yeah.
they never cleaned up and it's just crazy. Probably a wild one would be it's overgrown of weeds and you're just kind of walking into a jungle and you don't even know where the turf is. I've walked into a couple of those where it's just like there's turf here and you gotta pick the weeds and roll through it and stuff. We've done some really nice houses though, some like really cool ones. There's disgusting ones that are like gross, but some really nice houses where the backyards are just immaculate. You're like, gosh, I can't believe people live like that. It's so cool. So we get to see a lot of different things that give you a perspective on different landscapes and kind of different levels of
Yeah.
people.
And then, what is your goal for this brand? Where do you see it going down the line?
Ultimately, we want to be in every state, almost every state. So we're going nationwide. We don't know how exactly we're going to do that. If it's franchise or if it's just going to be corporate owned, but that's the goal. So we're close to taking over 100. I'm not going to say 100%, but majority market share in Arizona right now. We're close to doing that, and then we'll expand out to nearby states, and then from there we'll start branching out more.
Mm.
So
No, that's amazing. And then, who are some entrepreneurs that you look up to that keeps you kind of just someone that you can lean on, just kind of get some motivation?
yeah, dude, I look at home service guys. I look at the guys that have grown home service businesses. Cam Bodden with Green Mango.
Yep.
Obviously, he's a big one. The owners of carpet cleaning businesses like Coconut Cleaning and Zero Risk Carpet Cleaning. I look up to them. I look up to people like Nikki T with his content. You get a variety of people that are doing different things, but you're trying to accomplish the same goal.
Yeah.
I'm in Jason Payne's scale group, and he's one that I look up to. I saw him on social media just crushing it and putting his content out there, and went to one of his events, and now I'm in his scale his scale mastermind group with a lot of other business owners that now I've met in there, and now I look up to them because some are way ahead of me in where they're at with their business, and then there's some below me that are now looking up to me. So it comes full circle.
Mm.
So those are some people. Obviously, this is a big ones, like Alex Ramosi and like all of those guys on Instagram that are like, oh, gosh, how are they doing this? But I try to scale back to who's 10 steps ahead of me, who's 5 steps ahead of me, and who's like a couple steps ahead of me, and kind of like piggyback on what they did to get to this point and to this point and to this point. Helps me put in perspective like, okay, I'm ahead of where I thought I would be, and where I want to go, and I'm nowhere near where I'm going to end up, and this is where this person is. So
Yeah.
I
No,
think it's
that's
important to have different levels of people you look up to.
yeah. I really like that. I like the idea of someone that's kind of close to you. How can I get them? How can I get to net set, net set, net set, so on. So I really
Yeah.
do like that mindset. Um, first and foremost, I just want to thank you for coming on, taking time out of your day to come on this podcast and just answer some of my wild questions. Um, just so you can go ahead and shout out anything that you want, your Instagram, website, anything. Go ahead and shout out your company.
Cool, man. No, appreciate you having me on. I love that you're in the grind too, dude. We're all in the grind, and you got
Yeah.
to start somewhere, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be in a totally different place in a couple years if you're going to continue with it. So excited to see what you do, and I appreciate you having me on. It's always fun to get to explain
Mm-hmm.
who we are and stuff. But we're Dino Turf Cleaning in Arizona for now, based out of Arizona. DinoTurfCare.com is our website, and Dino Turf Cleaning on Instagram and across the board for socials. So that's who we are.
Yeah, dude. No, like I said, I really do appreciate you, and God willing, do you able to go nationwide and do everything you want. Like I said, thank you for coming on the podcast, and that wraps up episode 8.